Welcome, coin enthusiasts, to another thrilling dive into the world of numismatics, where a single 5-cent piece can be worth a fortune, and today we're exploring the 1993 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin minted at the Denver Mint that's rumored to command an astonishing $29 million due to its rare errors and mistakes, making it one of the most coveted treasures in modern coin collecting. And in this video, we'll unravel the fascinating details of why this seemingly ordinary nickel, part of a series that's been a staple of American pocket change since 1938, could be worth such an extraordinary sum, delving into the specific minting errors, the historical context, and the tantalizing possibilities that elevate its value to stratospheric heights. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get started, because the story of the 1993 D nickel is a tale of minting mishaps, collector fervor, and the allure of the rare, beginning with the Jefferson nickel itself, designed by Felix Schlag to feature President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse, a design that's remained largely unchanged for decades, with the 1993 D issue being one of over 406 million nickels struck at the Denver Mint that year, a high mintage that makes it a common coin in circulation. Yet within this massive production, a tiny fraction of coins emerged with errors so rare and significant that they could justify a $29 million valuation, starting with one of the most sought after errors in numismatics, the double die obverse, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the hubbing process, causing a doubling of design elements like Jefferson's profile, the date, 1993, or inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," and while no widely documented 1993 D double die has surfaced to match the fame of the 1955 double die Lincoln cent, which can fetch over $125,000, the possibility of a 1993 D nickel with a dramatic double die visible to the naked eye would be a game-changer, as such an error would be exceedingly rare given the precision of modern minting technology, where high-speed presses and automated processes reduce the likelihood of such mistakes. But if a die was improperly prepared or reused, it could produce a coin with crisp doubling, potentially valued in the tens or hundreds of thousands, or even millions if it's a unique specimen in pristine mint state condition, graded MS 67 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, which authenticate and grade coins to establish their market value. And speaking of condition, the state of preservation is critical, as uncirculated coins with full luster and no wear command exponentially higher prices than circulated examples. So a 1993 D nickel with a double die in MS 67 full steps, where the steps on Monticello are sharply defined, could be a cornerstone of its $29 million valuation, especially if it's a one-of-a-kind piece. Moving on to another error that could contribute to this coin's astronomical worth, the off-center strike, where the planchet, the blank metal disc, is misaligned in the press, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted, sometimes leaving a blank crescent on one side. And for a 1993 D nickel, an off-center strike of 50% or more, with the full date and D mint mark still visible, would be incredibly rare, as modern minting technology minimizes such errors. But when they occur, they're highly prized, with values ranging from $50 for minor off-center strikes to thousands for dramatic ones, and a 1993 D nickel with a 70% off-center strike in mint state could fetch tens of thousands, or potentially millions if it's a unique example, as collectors value coins that are visually striking and rare, and the Denver Mint's high output in 1993 makes such errors even more exceptional, adding to the coin's potential to reach that $29 million mark, especially if combined with other errors, which brings us to the double denomination error, one of the rarest and most valuable minting mistakes, where a coin already struck with one design is accidentally fed back into the press and struck with another denomination's dies. For example, a 1993 D nickel planchet struck first as a nickel and then with dime or quarter dies, creating a coin with Jefferson's portrait on one side and Roosevelt's or Washington's on the other. And while such errors are nearly unheard of in modern coinage due to stringent quality controls, they're not impossible, as seen with the 2000 P Sacagawea dollar and Washington quarter mule, which has sold for over $100,000, and a 1993 D nickel with a double denomination error would be a numismatic phenomenon, potentially valued in the millions due to its uniqueness, as only a handful of such errors exist across U.S. coinage, and its discovery would spark a frenzy among collectors, possibly accounting for a significant portion of the $29 million valuation, particularly if certified by a top-tier grading service. And another error to consider is the wrong planchet error, where a nickel is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime, which is smaller and lighter, weighing 2.27 grams compared to the nickel's 5 grams, or a quarter, which is larger, and a 1993 D nickel struck on a dime planchet would be immediately noticeable due to its incorrect size and metallic appearance, with values for such errors typically ranging from $200 to $20,000, but a pristine example could fetch far more, especially if it's a previously undocumented variety, contributing to the coin's potential $29 million worth. And let's explore the blockage error, where a coin gets stuck to the die and impresses a mirror image of itself onto subsequent planchets, resulting in a coin with a normal obverse but a reverse showing a negative impression of the obverse. And for a 1993 D nickel, a full blockage would be extraordinarily rare, potentially worth $75 to $150 or more. With older or more dramatic examples fetching higher prices, and a mint state 1993 D blockage could command thousands, adding to the coin's cumulative value. And another rare error is the die cap, where a coin adheres to the die and is struck multiple times, taking on a bottle cap-like shape. And while die caps are scarce, they're highly collectible, with values starting at $150 and climbing into the thousands for significant examples. And a 1993 D nickel die cap with multiple strikes and a clear date could be worth tens of thousands, further bolstering the coin's extraordinary valuation. And we can't overlook the lamination error, where impurities in the planchet cause the metal to peel or split, creating a layered or flaking appearance. And while less valuable than double dies or double denominations, a severe lamination on a 1993 D nickel could fetch $50 to $500, especially if it affects a significant portion of the design. And the $29 million valuation likely stems from a hypothetical 1993 D nickel with multiple major errors, such as a double die, off-center strike, wrong planchet, and blockage, all in pristine MS-67 condition, as such a combination would be a once-in-a-lifetime find, with no known parallels in modern US coinage, and the rarity of such a coin would drive its value into the millions, as collectors and investors compete for a piece of numismatic history. And to put this into perspective, the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent, one of the most famous RareCoins, has sold for over $1 million due to its rarity, and a 1993 D nickel with multiple dramatic errors could surpass that, especially in today's market, where modern errors are increasingly sought after due to their scarcity, and grading services play a crucial role, as a coin graded MS-67 full steps by PCGS or NGC would command a premium far beyond lower grade examples. And the $29 million figure, while speculative, could be justified if the coin is a singular example with a never before seen combination of errors, sold at a high-profile auction where competitive bidding among wealthy collectors and institutions could drive the price to unprecedented levels. And let's consider the feeder finger error, where the mechanical fingers that feed planchets into the press are struck by the die, leaving scratch-like marks on the coin. And a 1993 D nickel with a prominent feeder finger error could be worth $1,000 or more, as seen with a 2005 P Buffalo nickel that sold for $1,010. And while less dramatic than other errors, it adds to the coin's uniqueness. And another possibility is the die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet, transferring elements of one design onto the other, resulting in a coin with faint traces of the reverse on the obverse or vice versa. And a 1993 D nickel with a significant die clash could be worth $50 to $200, contributing to its overall value. And we must also explore the mule error, where a coin is struck with mismatched dies, such as a 1993 D nickel with an obverse from one year and a reverse from another, or a design intended for a different denomination. And a 1993 D mule would be a numismatic sensation, potentially valued in the millions, as mules are among the rarest errors. And the historical context of the 1993 D nickel adds to its appeal, as the Jefferson nickel series has a history of notable errors, from the 1943 P double die to the 2005 D speared bison. And the Denver Mint's high production in 1993 makes significant errors even more remarkable, as they slip through quality controls. And the $29 million valuation could be driven by a coin with a combination of errors never seen before, certified and sold at a major auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, where bidding wars could push the price to extraordinary heights. And the coin's provenance, such as being found in circulation or inherited, would add to its mystique. And the numismatic community's fascination with errors stems from their uniqueness, as no two. Next, let's dive into the fascinating world of numismatics, where a seemingly ordinary coin can transform into a treasure worth millions, specifically the 2015 P. Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent piece that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide due to its potential to be valued at an astonishing $87 million because of rare errors and mistakes that occurred during its minting process at the Philadelphia Mint, where the P mint mark signifies its origin. And while most nickels from this year are worth their face value of 5 cents, certain anomalies elevate specific examples to extraordinary heights in the coin collecting community, driven by a combination of minting errors, historical significance, and the sheer rarity of these imperfections, which we will explore in exhaustive detail to understand why such a humble coin could command such a staggering price. Beginning with the context of the Jefferson nickel itself, a coin designed by Felix Schlag in 1938, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse, a design that has remained largely consistent for decades, with the 2015 P issue being part of the standard circulation coinage produced in large quantities, reportedly over 600 million struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone, making it a common coin in everyday transactions. Yet within this vast production, a tiny fraction of these nickels emerged with errors that turned them into numismatic unicorns, coveted by collectors who are willing to pay astronomical sums for coins that deviate from the norm, as these errors are not just mistakes but unique artifacts of the minting process that tell a story of human and mechanical imperfection, starting with one of the most valuable types of errors, the double die obverse, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the hubbing process, resulting in a doubling of design elements such as Jefferson's profile, the date, or inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with a notable example being a hypothetical 2015 P nickel where the doubling is so pronounced that it's visible to the naked eye, a rarity that could push its value into the tens of thousands or even millions, as seen with the famous 1955 double die Lincoln cent, which commands prices upwards of $125,000 in mint state due to its dramatic doubling. And while no confirmed 2015 P nickel with such a severe double die has been publicly documented, the possibility exists given the complexities of modern minting, where high-speed presses and automated processes can still produce subtle misalignments, especially if a die is reused or improperly prepared, leading to a coin that stands out under magnification, with collectors valuing such errors based on the clarity and extent of the doubling, potentially elevating a single 2015 P nickel's worth to 6 or 7 figures if it matches the intensity of historical precedents. Moving on to another error that could contribute to this coin's $87 million valuation, the off-center strike, where the planchet, the blank metal disc that becomes the coin, is not properly aligned in the press, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted off the center, sometimes leaving a portion of the planchet blank, and for a 2015 P nickel, an off-center strike of 50% or more, with the full date and mint mark still visible, would be exceptionally rare, as modern minting technology minimizes such errors, but when they occur, they are highly prized, with values ranging from $50 for minor off-center strikes to thousands for dramatic ones, and a 2015 P nickel with a 70% off-center strike, showing Jefferson's portrait partially missing but with a clear 2015 and P, could fetch prices in the high thousands or low millions, especially if it's in uncirculated condition, as collectors place a premium on coins that retain their original luster and detail, and the rarity of such a significant misalignment in a modern coin would make it a standout piece at auction, potentially contributing to the $87 million figure if paired with other errors, which brings us to the possibility of a double denomination error, one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint errors, where a coin already struck with one design is accidentally fed back into the press and struck with a different denomination's dies, for instance, a 2015 P nickel planchet being struck first as a nickel and then mistakenly struck with dime dies, creating a coin with Jefferson's portrait on one side and Roosevelt's on the other, or even a quarters design, and while such errors are exceedingly rare due to stringent quality controls at the U.S. Mint, they are not impossible, as evidenced by the 2000 P Sacagawea dollar and Washington quarter mule, which has sold for over $100,000 at auction, and a 2015 P nickel with a double denomination error would be a numismatic holy grail, potentially valued in the millions due to its uniqueness, as only a handful of such errors are known across all U.S. coinage, and the combination of a modern date with such a dramatic error would drive collector interest to unprecedented levels, possibly accounting for a significant portion of the $87 million valuation, especially if the coin is certified by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC, which authenticates and grades coins, adding credibility and marketability, further enhancing its value. And speaking of grading, the condition of the coin plays a critical role in its worth, with uncirculated coins graded MS 65 or higher commanding exponentially higher prices than circulated examples, as wear and tear diminish the visibility of errors and the coin's overall appeal. So a 2015 P nickel with a combination of errors in pristine condition could see its value skyrocket, particularly if it's a one-of-a-kind piece, which leads us to another potential error, the wrong planchet error, where a nickel is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime or quarter, resulting in a coin with the wrong size, weight, or composition. For example, a 2015 P nickel struck on a copper dime planchet, which is smaller and lighter than a nickel planchet, would weigh approximately 2.27 grams instead of the standard 5 grams, and such an error would be immediately noticeable due to its incorrect size and metallic appearance, with values for wrong planchet errors typically ranging from $200 to $20,000. Depending on the denomination mismatch and condition, and a 2015 P nickel struck on a dime planchet in mint state could easily fetch tens of thousands, contributing to the coin's potential $87 million valuation if combined with other rare errors, as the uniqueness of such a mistake in a modern coin would captivate collectors, especially if it's a previously unknown variety. And another error to consider is the blockage error, where a coin gets stuck to the die and impresses a mirror image of itself onto subsequent planchets, creating a coin with a normal obverse but a reverse that shows a negative impression of the obverse design. And for a 2015 P nickel, a full blockage error would be extraordinarily rare due to modern minting safeguards, but if one exists, it could be worth $75 to $150 or more, with older or more dramatic blockage fetching higher prices. And a 2015 P nickel with a full blockage in uncirculated condition could command thousands, adding to the cumulative value. That might approach the $87 million mark when combined with other errors, and let's not overlook the possibility of a die cap error, where a coin becomes stuck to the die and is struck multiple times, taking on a bottle cap-like shape, and while die caps are rare, they are highly collectible, with values starting at $150 and climbing into the thousands for significant examples, and a 2015 P nickel die cap with multiple strikes and a clear date could be a unique piece that collectors would pay a premium for, potentially in the tens of thousands, further bolstering the coin's extraordinary valuation. And another intriguing possibility is the lamination error, where impurities in the planchet cause the metal to peel or split, creating a coin with a layered or flaking appearance. And while lamination errors are less valuable than double dies or double denominations, a severe lamination on a 2015 P nickel, especially if it affects a significant portion of the design, could still fetch $50 to $500, adding to the coin's overall worth, particularly if it's part of a coin with multiple errors, as collectors often seek coins with a combination of mistakes, which are exponentially rarer. And speaking of combinations, the $87 million valuation likely stems from a hypothetical 2015 P nickel that exhibits multiple major errors, such as a double die obverse, an off-center strike, and a wrong planchet, all in pristine mint state condition, as such a coin would be a once-in-a-lifetime find, with no known parallels in modern US coinage. And the rarity of such a combination would drive its value into the stratosphere, as collectors and investors compete for the chance to own a piece of numismatic history. And to put this into perspective, the most valuable era coins in US history, like the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent, have sold for over $1 million due to their rarity and historical significance, and a 2015 P nickel with multiple dramatic errors could surpass even that, especially given the modern context and the intense demand for unique errors in today's market, where collectors are increasingly drawn to coins that stand out as anomalies. And the role of grading services cannot be overstated, as a coin graded MS 67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, with clear documentation of its errors, would command a premium far beyond a similar coin in lower grades. And the $87 million figure, while speculative, could be justified if the coin is a singular example with a combination of errors never before seen, certified by a top tier grading service and sold at a high-profile auction, where competitive bidding among wealthy collectors and institutions could drive the price to unprecedented levels. And let's consider the feeder finger error, another rare mistake where the mechanical fingers that feed planchets into the press are struck by the die, leaving scratch-like marks on the coin. And a 2015 P nickel with a prominent feeder finger error, especially in high grade, could be worth $1,000 or more, as seen with a 2005 P buffalo nickel that sold for $1,010 due to such an error. And while feeder finger errors are less dramatic than double dies or double denominations, they add to the coin's uniqueness, particularly if combined with other errors. And another factor to consider is the die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring elements of one design onto the other, resulting in a coin with faint traces of the reverse design on the obverse or vice versa. And a 2015 P nickel with a significant die clash could be worth $50 to $200, depending on visibility, adding another layer to its potential value. And we must also explore the possibility of a mule error, where a coin is struck with mismatched dies, such as a 2015 P nickel with an obverse from one year and a reverse from another, or even a design intended for a different denomination. And while mules are among the rarest errors, with the 2000 P Sacagawea dollar in Washington quarter mule selling for over $100,000, a 2015 P nickel mule would be a numismatic phenomenon, potentially valued in the millions due to its impossibility under normal minting conditions. And the historical context of the 2015 P nickel adds to its allure, as the Jefferson nickel series has a storied history of errors, from the 1943 P double die to the 2005 D speared bison, and collectors are always on the lookout for the next big find, which could be a 2015 P nickel with a unique combination of errors. and the modern minting process, while highly automated, is not infallible, as evidenced by rare errors that slip through quality control, and the Philadelphia Mint, with its massive output, occasionally produces coins with multiple errors due to equipment malfunctions or human oversight, and the $87 million valuation, while extraordinary, could be driven by the coin's uniqueness, its condition, and the fervor of the collecting community, where high-profile auctions often see record-breaking sales for rare errors, and the possibility of a 2015 P nickel with a combination of a double die, off-center strike, wrong planchet, and brockage, all in MS-67 condition, would be a coin unlike any other, drawing comparisons to the 1804 silver dollar, known as the King of Coins, which has sold for millions due to its rarity, and the 2015 P nickel's value would be further amplified by its modern origin, as collectors are increasingly fascinated by errors in contemporary coinage, which are rarer due to advanced minting technology, and the speculative nature of the $87 million figure suggests a coin that is not just rare but unique, with a story that captures the imagination, much like the 1933 Double Eagle, which sold for $18.9 million in 2021, and a 2015 P nickel with multiple errors could surpass that if it represents a never-before-seen combination, and the role of provenance also matters, as a coin with a documented history of discovery, perhaps found in circulation by an astute collector or inherited in a family collection, would add to its mystique and value, and the numismatic community's obsession with errors stems from their unpredictability, as no two error coins are exactly alike, and a 2015 P nickel with multiple errors would be a testament to the imperfections of the minting process, making it a prized possession for collectors who value the unexpected, and the market for error coins is driven by supply and demand, with rare errors commanding higher prices as collectors compete for limited examples, and the 2015 P nickel's potential $87 million valuation could be fueled by a bidding war among top collectors, museums, or investors, each wanting to own a piece of history, and the coin's errors would need to be visually striking, easily identifiable, and certified to reach such a value, as collectors rely on grading services to authenticate errors and ensure they are not post-mint damage, which has no numismatic value, and the 2015 P nickel's composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel, also plays a role, as errors on clad coins are less common than on solid alloy coins, making a wrong planchet error on a dime or quarter planchet even more valuable, and the coin's weight, diameter, 21.21 millimeters, and thickness, 1.95 millimeters, would deviate in a wrong planchet error, adding to its appeal. And the numismatic market in 2025 is particularly hot for modern errors, as collectors seek out coins that stand out in an era of mass production, and the 2015 P nickel's potential errors, from double dies to mules, would make it a standout piece, potentially featured in numismatic journals, coin shows, or online platforms like eBay, where rare errors often fetch high prices, and the coin's discovery would likely spark a frenzy among collectors, with social media amplifying its fame, as seen with the 2005 de-speared bison nickel, which gained notoriety online, and the 2015 P nickel's errors would need to be dramatic and well documented to justify an $87 million price tag, possibly involving a combination of a double die, off-center strike, wrong planchet, brockage, and die cap, all in pristine condition, with a full date and mint mark, certified by PCGS or NGC, and sold at a major auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, where competitive bidding could drive the price to unprecedented levels, and the coin's story would become legend, much like the 1943 bronze cent or the 1969 double die penny, both of which have sold for millions due to their rarity and historical significance, and the 2015 P nickel's $87 million valuation, while speculative, is not impossible in the context of modern numismatics, where unique errors can command extraordinary prices, and collectors should always check their change, as the next great find could be hiding in a pocket or coin roll, waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye for the extraordinary, and while no confirmed 2015 P nickel with such a combination of errors has been documented, the possibility exists, and the numismatic community remains vigilant, knowing that the next big error coin could be just one transaction away, making the hunt for such treasures a thrilling pursuit for collectors worldwide.